Hello and welcome to Judy's Creations and Crochet. And today is October the 24th, 2024. And I'm coming to you from Chatham, Ontario, the southernmost tip of Ontario and Canada. And I am all about crochet, as my title would suggest, but I also like to talk a lot about yarn. As you will see today, I have lots of yarn to show. And the yarn that I am most excited about and that I talk the most about is hand-dyed yarn. I love hand-dyed yarn, and I love the different kinds of fibers that you can get in hand-dyed yarn. So I talk a lot about hand-dyed yarn, where you can get it. I particularly focus on Canadian hand dyers. So I hope you enjoy what you will see. And if you are new, I hope you will come back again. Please hit that subscribe button and you'll be notified each time I'm online, which is usually only once a week. And for those that are returning viewers, thank you for coming back week after week after week. I appreciate all of my loyal followers. So, a lot to cover today. I have all kinds of yarn piled up here, and I don't know where to go first. But as usual, I am going to start with what am I wearing? I'm actually wearing one of the scarves that I showed 2 weeks ago, and this is one of the scarves that I will be taking to the craft show in November. And this was number 3 in the showings 2 weeks ago. It's still available if you are interested. I'm going to put it on a little differently this time just to show that you can wear it a couple of different ways. I don't know the pattern of it, and I definitely don't know the yarn. But I could tell you that it is probably a CJ Brady pattern. I make a lot of those one skein wonders, as I call them, because she's quite well known for her one skein patterns. So that's what I'm wearing today. Something purple, which I always like. Now, what have I finished this week? Well, I am really excited to tell you that I finished 3 items this week. The very first one I finished is back here on my model. It is another, very similar to what I showed you last week. It is another of these bandana cowl hoodies. Now, I didn't use any special pattern. Oh, yes, I did. I used the modern granny, or the modern day granny. You can find that shawl on Fiber Spider's website. He does a tutorial, and I just pick any shawl at random. Sometimes it has no pattern, and I do it until it's ready to be joined at the back. And then I join it and I go around it and make a cowl until it's quite tall, and I try to make it tall enough that it could go over a person's head. Obviously, we don't have a head here. This one is a little shorter than some I've done. It has a very nice drape to it. And the yarn I used, I have a full ball. In fact, I did one last week or the week before in this color. And then this one is in this color. They are all loops and threads, heathered tweed. They say they're number 3, but to me they're slightly heavier than 3, or heavy 3. And they are, I think they're almost all acrylic. They might have a little something else. Where is it? Oh, No, I'm wrong. 66% polyester, 30% acrylic, and 4% wool. I don't know how much that 4% would bother someone, but yes. Now that color back there is called soot, the black and white one. So I finished that very quickly last week. And then I wanted to make another one. I knew I wanted to make at least one, if not two more. But then I discovered I had more already finished than I thought. So I decided I would only make one more. And I also wanted to make a shawl, a particular shawl. So this isn't the order I did them in, but I went on to make another one of these bandana cowl hoodies. I had these take only one ball, and a ball has 418 yards in it. I had this much left, and that's the color. So here is another one, and this time I used the Granny Merge shawl, which is a pattern. Again, it's a fiber spider pattern, but it's a pattern where you use the plain granny, like a granny shawl, and then you do solid, and then you do the granny cluster again. Now, when Craig shows it, he does 3 rows of granny, 3 rows of solid, and he keeps going 3, 3, 3. But he says you can use any number, 2, 4, 5, whatever. And I did 3 at the beginning to make enough to get started, but I decided I wanted more rows of the solid so there'd be warmth. So I did 4, and I should have went back and done the same, but for some reason after I did 2, I thought, you know what? I like it fine just with 2, and then I did another 4 rows of solid, 2, and a couple more rows of solid to finish it off. And then I joined it at the back. I actually tried to overlap it a little bit at the back. Some people joined the points. And then I did the cowl, and it's quite tall. And I said, I'm just going to go to the end of the ball. Well, I finished this last night, last thing before heading up to bed. And I tried it on to make sure this was long enough to go over the head. And I noticed it was a little harder to get over my head. And I definitely tried it on down here, and I wasn't having trouble. And I thought, that's really strange. Did I start to decrease and I didn't realize it? And I thought, well, I'm just going to leave it for the moment. And then I got thinking, oh, I was making this and I was making a shawl at the same time, back and forth. And I have both hooks sitting there. And when I sat down last night to finish this up, and I can really see it now, I grabbed the wrong hook. I was using a 5mm in the shawl, but I was using a 6.5mm in this. And I realize now I can see the stitches are, you might not be able to see it, but the stitches are much smaller. So I decided that after I'm done this video tonight, I'm going to tear it back to where I started with the wrong hook. And I'm going to redo those last 2, 4, 5 rows. I'm going to redo it with the correct hook. And then it will be a little bit looser to put around your head, and it'll fit much better. And if I don't have enough, I do have a second ball. I have a second ball of all of these. I can reach into the second ball to finish it. But I think it'll end up being probably a row less, but making it wider, I don't think I'll need to worry about adding any more rows. So I have to fix that tonight. So that was the second item that I finished in this past week. And where am I going to put that? I'll put it down there with that. And finally, I had a shawl I really wanted to make. It's not a big wraparound shawl. I made one last year. It's called a boho shawl, and it is a pattern from EFA. And I made it last year using resilient sock yarn. I'm not really fond of resilient sock yarn. I mean, it's meant for socks because it's very elastic. And in a shawl, I don't really care for the elasticity in the yarn. And I have some and I put it aside and I haven't used it. Well, I got thinking that shawl sold very quickly, I think because of the boho style, but maybe because of the bounciness of it. So I said, you know what? I got some other resilient. I'm going to make one more for my craft show this week, or this next month, this fall. So I went into my stash and found the resilient yarn, and I only had one skein of it, which is not enough. This particular shawl is made with 2 strands held together of resilient sock. So I said, oh, wow, that kind of kills that idea. I'm going to have to find another way to use. I have 2 different skeins of resilient sock in totally different colors, and I'm going to have to figure out something to do with them, but oh well, another story for later. So I said, well, I still want to make this shawl. I think it might sell. So I looked around in my stash and thought, what would work best? What would look right in the boho? And I came across some yarn, and there is a story behind this yarn. For those of you that were with me last year, you will remember that I had a subscription to Arkansas Sock Society. Every month I got 2 skeins of yarn. I started out by getting the sparkle yarn, and I really, really liked it. The yarn was very soft. They come out with some very pretty colors. And of course, you know, I like sparkle. But partway through the year, I changed from the sparkle to the plain simply because it was very expensive subscription. Between the exchange rate and the shipping and all the rest of it, it was a bit expensive. So I saved money by going to plain. And I got one yarn before I changed over. I got one yarn in the sparkle that I absolutely loved. I don't know if you remember it, but I fell in love with the yarn. It had my colors in it. And I had 2 skeins. I was getting 2 to justify the shipping. And I loved this yarn and I wanted to make something with it, like almost right away. So I caked it up. And I'm going to show you a picture of it here. But when I caked it up, I discovered how very different the 2 dye lots were. One was pale and muted almost, and the other was very bright. And I was disappointed. I thought, well, I can't really put them in one project. I'm going to end up having to find 2 different projects, I guess, to try to make 2 different items with the 2 different, to me, they were like very different colors. But I put them aside and they sat there all this time. And I looked at them and I thought, you know, I have to use this yarn. And this takes 2 skeins, 2 strands held together. Now they're the same color, just one is soft, dull colors and the other's very bright. Why not put them together? They're going to look like the same thing. I'm going to try that. So I did. I decided to put them together. Now, it's a variegated yarn. You're never going to get it held together with the same colors side by side working together. And I said, I don't care. It's a boho shawl. It's multicolored, variegated. It's just going to look busy. And I made a shawl. And it's a very easy shawl to make. It's a 3-row repeat and it's all triple crochets. It goes very fast, and I made this in 2 days. And here it is. The part that takes the longest in a way is putting all the fringe on it. But here it is. Very bright and colorful. I don't know if you can tell. Oh yeah, you can see the sparkle in it there. And you can see the mixed colors. And it is pretty colors, but it doesn't appeal to me the way it did when it first came in the skein. So I'm glad I found something to do with it. And I am going to be taking this to the craft show to sell in November. And I stopped because I knew I really couldn't get another row. Well, I didn't want one more row because the next row was the open row and I didn't want to finish with the open row. So I would have to do 2 more. Well, I didn't have enough for 2 more and fringe. And fringe, you know, takes quite a bit. So I took what was left of the yarn and I wrapped it and cut it. And I put the fringe on and I had this much left. If you're really interested, I could tell you how many grams. 5, it says there's 5 grams there. Kind of surprises me that there's 5, but anyhow, it wouldn't be enough for much of anything. And I have a jar where I'm putting scraps and I'm going to put that in that jar and I'm saving it. I know some people use their scraps to fill their amigurumi. Now, you know, I don't make amigurumi, but you know what? Some lucky person is going to get my scraps at some point. But that is my 3rd project that I finished 2 days ago. So I'm very pleased that I got quite a bit done in this past week. Some weeks I don't get much of anything done, but this week made up for it. And I'm really happy about that. Now I am only going to make one more item for the craft show. And that is, I'm going to make one more poncho. Very much like the poncho I showed last week, but it is, and it's scarfy, but it's in denim colors. And that's it. I'll make it next week and I'll be done. It'll be the end of October, and then it'll only be 2 more weeks till the show. And I'm going to be pulling out everything and taking stock. And it has been pointed out to me, people would be interested to see what I'm taking to the show. So I may take a week or 2 to show you what I have to take with me to the craft show. So that's what November is going to be all about. So, finished objects. Now, I have just barely started on an item, and I'm going to talk about it, if we have time, next week. Because talking about next week, I'm going to mention that right now. Next week is the 31st, and normally I do a video on every Thursday, which would be the 31st, and I do the slideshow on the 1st of the month. Well, I'm really, really too busy to make 2 videos of any size back to back, one day after the other next week. There's just too much going on. I have to get ready for the craft show, and I have to get out in the gardens and start, you know, taking all the plants in. We're getting some nice weather, so I'm going to start that tomorrow. So anyway, you have been asked to get your pictures to me by Sunday, 24, 25, the 27th. Yes, I said October the 27th. If you get them to me by Sunday, I will start working on the video next week, and we're going to have just one video. And it will be on the Thursday, my usual day. And it will be the slideshow for the 1st of the month. So you're going to get to see November's color a day early. And you're going to get your inspiration picture, and you're going to see the slideshow of everybody's makes a little early. And then with whatever time we have left, I will do some regular weekly business, because you know I'm opening the minis for October leading into Halloween, and I'll have that to finish up next week as well. Whether I have time for much of anything else, I don't know. I have one thing I would like to try cover next week as well as that. So anyway, slideshow and everything that goes with the beginning of the month will actually be on the 31st next week. All right, so that's that done. Next, we have something to finish up, and that is our magical gratitude box. As you know, I have been opening the gift items from Shandy for the last 8 weeks. And it really does smell in that box. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. That came with it. And here is our last item. It's quite heavy. This box might be very useful for storing things in at a later date. And I will reach in and get the card out first, because there's a card in every week. And here we are, week 8. Week 8 says magical gratitude. Hang on half a second here. All right. Life can be truly magical, full of wonder and delight, when we fully embrace the consistent practice of gratitude and living in the present. And her suggestion, and I am so grateful for you, my friend. Thank you for joining our first magical gratitude experience. I appreciate you more than you know, and I hope you found a spark of joy, a dollop of delight, and an overflow of enthusiasm. XOXO Shandy. So that was the first time they ever did such an item. And here is our last one. And I kind of figured, I thought it was a hand soap in a box, but it's not. It's daily cards for a more fulfilling life. And inside are cards. And the cards all have, they have suggestions of things to do. Maybe it says something at the beginning. Mind cards. These are designed to help you become more mindful of your thoughts and feelings, giving you the tools needed to focus on the present and spread positivity and self-care throughout your life. By introducing positive habits into your everyday routine, these mind cards will help you create the happiest and healthiest life for you. I hope you enjoy learning more about yourself when using these cards, and they bring you joy, curiosity, and inspiration. Shuffle the cards, and it talks about journaling and reflecting, and their gratitude, attitude, kindness. Oh, you can't see those. They have different titles on them. Gratitude. There's another one, gratitude. Of course, I pick them all the same. Kindness. I saw one with attitude somewhere. Journal. And they have, I'll just pick one and read it to you. It says, take 10 undistracted minutes to reflect on the following quote and how it applies to your life in this moment. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And that's true. Very true. So it has something different, sayings that's from I can't say that. This one's from Oscar Wilde, Confucius, Marie Curie, Lee Tost. Some of these are the type of sayings and quotes that I've been putting lately at the beginning of my videos. So that's what these are. Something to reflect on each day and to possibly help you do a little bit of thinking and journaling. So there we go. Now, I want to I want to give a bit of a reaction to this whole gratitude box. When I was purchasing it, I was not going to get the box itself. I was just going to get the yarn. And then because they gave a big discount, it was only a few dollars more to get the box. And then it wasn't until, so I went ahead and purchased it. But then afterwards, I realized if I hadn't purchased the box, only the yarn, I had a coupon, I could get 15% off the yarn. So I really would have saved more. And honestly, I had a hesitation because these kinds of things often aren't something I enjoy. And if you followed along, you saw quite a number of things. I got a whole bunch of tea. I don't drink tea. I got that spicy thing last week that threw in the garbage. I've gotten a lot of things that had no meaning or no use to me. I did get a very nice pen, and this is a very nice idea as well. But overall, in my estimation, this is my own personal opinion, the magical box, the gratitude box really wasn't worth it. I am a little bit disappointed that I purchased it and disappointed in the items that came in it. But, you know, knowing Shandy, these are things that do appeal to her. If they do it again, I won't be purchasing the box. And unfortunately, I didn't get to make the actual item that they were doing as a cowl this fall because I just didn't have time. And I got started. And as you know, I'm really, really worried about my tension, my gauge. It's not going to be right. And I'm probably going to run out of yarn. But I've decided I can't do it now. I had too much on my plate to worry about it. I will maybe in the new year sometime go back to it and make it because I love the colors and the look of it, and I'll worry about if I run out of yarn. I could maybe leave a small section out in the first part and a small section in the second part so that the two full skeins make it all the way. It means a little less color in the color changes, so I'll have to think about that, or watch and see if they bring that color out again that the 100-gram skeins are. I'll have to watch and see if they come out again or come up with some other color if I run out. I do want to make that shawl. I'll let it sit for a while, and maybe I'll end up using the yarn for a different pattern. I'll have to see. But overall, the extra was a disappointment to me. So if they run it again next year, I won't be buying the extra box. That's for sure. Okay, enough about that. Next, we want to move on to Stranger Strings, which is a play on Stranger Things, which many of you told me was, I think, a Netflix program. And the pictures on the bags and the cards inside are characters and references to this. I've never watched it. I know nothing about it, but I am enjoying the yarns for my Halloween minis. And I put them on a board, and this is what we opened last week. So I'm going to keep it here, and I'm going to add on the other minis as I open them. Okay, so we opened 4 days. We're going to do 5 today, and this one is, it just says Merry Christmas. I don't know if that's part of it or not. The picture might mean something to you. This is very nice feeling yarn. I strongly suspect that I had a choice and I picked the sparkle. Day 5 is Rainbow Room. And let's see what yarn we get for that. Oh, it's definitely a rainbow. And I know a number of you will really, really like this one. It goes nicely with that one. A little bit different, has green, the lime green and blue at the top. So there's day 5. Day 6. And, oh, we got a little treat. And there is a card. And this, I think these must be the inspirations for the colors. And this is called 11. Now, I don't know what 11 is in this show, but we'll see. But I really like this color. I do like pastel, a bit of yellow, but not terrible. So that's the next one. It's nice and soft. I think with this particular collection, I'm going to be able to, you know, pick a few and make something and put some of them in another one. I won't have to put them all in one. Here's number 7. And I don't know if these pictures have anything to do with the show. I'll show them to you and you can decide if those are the people in the show or what. And see if we have a card here. And number 7 is Eggos. Eggos, okay. I buy those at the supermarket. Whoop. Okay. It's pretty. Definitely not a color I'm going to use much of, but it is a nice yellow if you like yellow. It's a rich yellow. And you know I'm totally aware that I'm not going to get through a set of anything without getting yellow in it. Next we go on to day 8. And I don't know if these are stickers based on that show or just random stickers that she happened to buy. And day 8, there's a card, and it says Material Girl, and it's going to fit well with some of the others. Very bright yellows and greens, but then it goes into colors I really like the reds and blues, pink and gray. I really, really like pink and gray. Put that down there. I may have to move these closer together. And our last one for today is day 9. And there's your sticker again. It says Dustin on the sticker. Is that a character in the show, Dustin? And another sticker. Day 9 says Christmas lights. Oh, this is probably going to be bright too. Oh, definitely. Oh, and we have a stitch marker on it, a light. And definitely the gold of Christmas lights. So I'll turn that around here and post that. Okay, where'd you go? And I will move them over a bit and tighten them up before next week. We have 4 more minis to open to get us to 13. And then we have 100 gram skein that goes with it that we will also open next week. So we definitely want to finish this up next week. So a lot of yellow happening down here, but I'm sure the colors will change as we move on to the last 4. So there you have our Halloween mini set for this week. Right. Now, the next thing I have lots to cover yet. When I came home today because I was out at class this morning. In my mailbox was a nice little gift. This is actually, I know when I see it by the size, and I can see the label as well. This is my monthly subscription from Adam of Crafty Wool, and I will put the link to him in the description box below. I also want to remind you that Adam has given my viewers a 10% discount code. Now, if I understand correctly, the discount code is to buy any of his yarn except the monthly subscription. I can understand why. This monthly subscription is priced quite reasonably. Even with the shipping, this isn't expensive. Now, I get two lots, and I asked for them not to be the same. So I end up getting 4 different colors when I get this, and I have not opened it. I simply cut this part. It comes in a shrink wrap package. Get some scissors here and cut this open. And he said something about sending me a little gift. He knew something I was looking for, so he sent me a couple of extra. He sent me some extra Adam. Yeah, he labeled this one purposely with my initials. You are too good. So I don't know which 2 are the ones for this month. Do I guess? I don't know how I guess which ones were meant for this month. Maybe if I watch somebody else open, but the only other person I know that gets it is Linan at Nina's Knots Crochet, and she gets 4. So I'll see what I think the last one or 2 is the extra that he sent me. So here's the first one. His yarn is always so soft. Is this the type of blue? Oh, okay. I showed him my scarf and a blue that I was looking to go with it. And he's asking, that's why he sent this extra one. Is this the type of blue you were hoping for? It's not quite the blue, but I'm going to put it next to my scarf and see how it looks with it. I got some other hand-dyed yarn from him that I absolutely love, but it is a bit variegated and it pools. And it's just me. I love the color, I love the yarn, but the pooling just doesn't work very well for me. So I'm going to hold it up next to that a little bit later and see what I think. All right, so that's the one he sent, wanting to know if that was going to work for me. So I'm guessing these next are the ones that are for the month. And Adam would have known, as you would know, that this isn't quite, although it's gold and not yellow. Where's the middle? There, that's where it's tied. Alrighty, so I won't undo the whole thing. I'll just hold it up like this. There is this would be very nice in some of our monthly. Sometimes our monthly inspiration calls for a color like this. It would have been good in the past months. I didn't put any gold in the one for this month. I had a gold and didn't use it, but that would have been really pretty with it, actually. Next, we get okay, now this is very different. Very different. This, I should have said spoiler alert for any of you that get Adam's yarns. Here is, it's got some pretty colors in it, but it wouldn't go on my favorite list. There's that. Okay, now we're getting to what I like. And you know something, Adam? I think this color coming up is closer to the color of what I was looking for to go with that other yarn. I really like that. I'm going to have to hold both of these next to, that is pretty. I really, really like that. And I think when I'm done opening these, I'm going to go and get the scarf and see what I think. So I'll have to pause this video. But that's pretty. And last of all, I love this. I love this. I love this. Adam, I'd like a whole skein of this. We can just find a way to look at it. You can tell I would love this. And it goes with that. Oh, that is so pretty. Look at that. Oh, yes, I love this. I need a whole skein of this. Yep, I do like that. Isn't that pretty? Now that has all of my colors in it, and this color goes very, very well with it. Yes, this I really, really like. Do you have a name for it, Adam? Yeah, I like that. Like, I need more yarn. I don't need to order another skein of anything, but I can see working with that. That would be pretty. But again, it's variegated and it's going to pool. I have to stitch with it and just see how it pools to know. So those are the skeins in this month's this one I did not find the middle, so I'm just going to hold it like that. Those are, if you order double, 2 of one and 2 of the other, that's what came. I have this other one he sent for me to check out with the yarn that he knows I'm looking for a solid to go with the yarn that he dyed. And I'm going to take the scarf apart and redo it with a solid. So I'm going to go get that scarf and I'll be right back. All right, here we are. This is the scarf and the yarn. I have 2 skeins in this shawl that I got from Adam. And a lot of you absolutely loved it. I love the colors, the pooling, which changes because the scarf keeps getting wider. Pooling just doesn't sit right in my eye. So try to get close up. And this is the one you asked me about, Adam. Does this match? Is this what I'm looking for? In some ways it goes with it a little bit, but it's lighter than I was thinking. But as I look at it, it's not a bad color. Now, let's see this other one. And I think it would go with it as well. I was looking for, in my mind, the scarf I had, but somebody already purchased it, so it's gone. It was a little more aqua, and it was in between these two. But I'm wondering, I think overall, I really like this, but I think it would be too pale with this because this is so vibrant. It needs something brighter. So in my mind, it needs to be closer to this. Maybe just a little more to the blue side, but you know, can you picture a shawl with this and this alternating in sections? You know, I think what I will do is I will start taking this out and I'll use this mini with it to get a feel for how does it look. And I can try the other mini as well and see how they look together. How would it look with a blue? What if I went totally different and put a blue with it? Just to change up, not try to match it, just put something with it that's bright. And that definitely is bright. Oh, what about that? See, it's a little bit different than this. This is more teal. And this color, only a little paler. You know, I'd love to get opinions. Should I use this hank, and it's sparkle, by the way, that I got as a birthday gift? Would that be a good color to alternate with this? Or this? I'm thinking this one is too pale. So would I like more of that, or could I use this? I'd love to hear your reactions. This looks like a good color with it right here. But I don't mind that either. Now there are two hanks or skeins in this shawl. So, I mean, I could put two with it. I could put both maybe. I don't know. That's a thought. And I'd love to hear what you all have to say about what I should do with this. Because it is going to come apart. Because I know I would not wear this. It's nothing to do with the yarn. It has to do with the pooling. And pooling that keeps changing does. If it were one of them, the whole thing that way, I'd be fine. But because it keeps changing, I'm not happy with all the different patterns. All right. So I know I will get your opinions, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now, I have, whoops, we're caught here. I've had a few acquisitions, and I want to show you one of them today. Even though I did get the subscription, I had a plan to show you an acquisition, and I will. So I'll just move these yarns aside. And you remember I said I went on a spending spree, and this kind of happened around my birthday. And I ordered from 3 different companies. And I showed you Arcane Fiber last week. And I have 2 other Canadian dyers that, sorry, one is not a Canadian dyer. It's a Canadian online yarn shop that carries lots of different yarns from different companies, including some hand dyers. And then after that, I did a little ordering from EFA. So I ended up with more. And one EFA has arrived, and the other one I got notification they mailed it out today. So it'll be a bit before it gets here. But we're going to have acquisitions to see for the next month anyway. So I'm going to show you this yarn next. And this was a spur of the moment, kind of unexpected decision. I had been watching a few people open yarn and talk about La Bien-Aimée. And until probably last month. I never really knew them or knew of them. It turns out they are a French company. They hand dye the yarn in France, and they do not, although you can find them online, they do not sell their yarn to the customer directly. You have to get their yarn through some other local yarn shop. Of course, I don't have a local yarn shop real close to me, but I did find what could be found in Canada, and actually quite close to me is the Knitting Loft. I don't think I have a card that says the Knitting Loft. No, I just have, no, there it is, the Knitting Loft. And it is in Toronto, and they carry a variety of different yarns. But I heard many people talking about La Bien-Aimée and sounding quite wonderful. So I wanted to try it, especially when it's hard to get. And they had some that was a little bit different than I normally get. So I thought, I'm going to give this a try. So I thought, well, I'll order 3 skeins. The shipping was very, very reasonable because it was coming from Toronto, which isn't that far. So I got 3 skeins of yarn from them, and they don't look quite the way I expected from what I saw online. But anyhow, these are all the same. There it is, La Bien-Aimée. Hand-dyed yarn in Paris. Actually in Paris. That part I didn't know. It was France, was all I knew. Everything on the label is French, but I can see that they call it Merino Super Sock. It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. So it is kind of your standard fingering weight, sock weight yarn. Merino nylon blend. The color of this is street art. I liked the speckles. The gray is a slightly duller tone of gray than what I thought it was going to be, but it's nice and colorful. Look at down here, the speckles in it. I've been drawn to yarn, speckled yarn lately, and that's one of the things I am going to work with very soon in the new year after I get my craft show done. So there's the first one I got. All 3 of these are the same base, and it has 425 meters, which is 465 yards. There's that one. And the next one is called Le Petit Nuage. I don't know what that means. And you can see why I ordered that one. I think I would like to get a really dark, plain, maybe tonal purple to put this with. But then they say when you have a variegated or a busy one, don't put it next to a solid that is matched in here, because then this gets lost where they touch. I don't know. Maybe I'll get something more blue. This has a teeny bit, but not too much of the dark blue. Put it next to that. Where did the dark blue go? I don't know. Or I get a charcoal gray and put it next to that. And the third one is, let's see, it's called Pom Pom. And this is the first one I was drawn to. I wanted to get this one, and since I really liked it, I decided I would get a couple more to make the order worthwhile. And I really like that teal. That teal is kind of the color I was looking for, but no, it wouldn't be the right color. and there's lots of purple and pink. There's a little bit of gold and brown in it. A little lighter up there. But I really do like this one. And this one, I really do think I would like it next to black. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I like that. So those are the 3 yarns I got from the store, the Knitting Loft. But it's because I was trying to get something from La Bien-Aimée. Now, what is my feeling regarding it? It feels nice, no problem, but it is just an average merino nylon blend. Nothing that I would rave about. I think my Arcane Fiber, where did you go, Arcane Fiber? Feels just as good, probably better. Yeah, that was last week's. It feels a little bit better. And Ravenswood, that I really like, is my favorite. And it feels better than this. So I'm not too sure what they were raving about. I mean, it's nice yarn. I have no problem with it. And if you like these colors, you know, you buy the colors where you find them. And they are very pretty. Like I said, they are not any softer than anything else. They are not any more special than anything else. They're just an average yarn. I'm not sorry I got them. They're very pretty, and I will find something to do with them. And if they sit here long enough without me getting inspired, they'll become a giveaway to one of my lucky viewers. That's what's happening. I'm getting a table full of items for my lucky viewers. So that brings us to the end of what we're going to look at today. Next week, we will finish up these Stranger's Strings, and we will do our slideshow for the beginning of November. It'll be labeled November, even though it comes out October the 31st. But that'll keep us pretty busy next week. And then I will be busy showing you what I have for my markets. So I hope you'll be back to see what I have to show you next week. But until then, happy hooking.